Hi, I'm Mark from Valor Excel. Thank you for joining me. Today I'd like to talk to you about defining roles in your small business or your nonprofit. This is actually the final installment in a 7-part series called Small Business Success Strategies. If you missed the other 6 installments, please check them out. So far we've talked about file management, process mapping, pivot tables for creating reports, how to manage meetings, effective communication, and how to manage staff without driving them crazy. But I saved this one, defining roles, for the very end because to me, it's the most important one. If you get this wrong, nothing in your organization will ever really work right. You'll struggle and you may not even know why. And I get why that happens. I don't know if you ever thought about this before, but many nonprofits and small businesses got their start due to the efforts of one person. It began as just an individual doing whatever. And then maybe suddenly business picked up or new doors of opportunity opened, and that person had to bring other people into the equation to get the work done. Well, when you move from the realm of sole proprietorship to having an actual team of people, the fabric of the organization needs to change. It's about fostering what I refer to as a culture of awareness. Everybody needs to understand not only what they're doing, but how it intersects with everybody else in the organization. I've talked before about the phenomenon of siloing, where people kind of work with blinders on. They're ultra focused on their own duties, so much so that they never really understand how it connects to everything else. In our organizations, it's always the small picture and the big picture, the micro and the macro. And that's where defining roles is so crucial, because people really do need to understand what is expected from them. And it initially begins with the whole idea of oversight. Now, oversight, wow, what a great homonym. It's one of those words that has entirely different meanings depending on how you define it. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, the first definition of oversight is watchful and responsible care, regulatory supervision. And the other definition is an inadvertent omission or error. Wow. So that's basically telling me that I need to have oversight in case there's an oversight, that I can avoid an oversight through the proper use of oversight. It's enough to make your head swim, but it's absolutely true. It's all about watchfulness. Who is minding the store? We're not just a group of people working together. Somebody needs to be making sure that things are getting done in the way that they should and in the time that they should. And that is what oversight is all about. But to really implement oversight and understand how this applies to defining roles, we need to look at 2 separate entities that work in tandem but are very unique. One is responsibility and the other is accountability. It frustrates me sometimes when people interchange those, especially in a business setting. They really are separate. They really do function in different ways. So let's first talk about responsibility. I basically define responsibility very simply. To me, it's just carrying out assigned tasks. Because let's face it, every single task in your organization is the responsibility of somebody. Maybe it's an individual, maybe it's a team or a business unit or a department. If it's an individual, that person comes to work each day and they understand I'm supposed to do this. And if I don't do this, I'll probably hear about it. Well, they'll hear about it because of accountability. The responsibility is that person doing their job. The accountability is somebody making sure that that person did their job. Now, sometimes the person who is responsible can also be the accountable one, but I think more often than not, the accountable one is somebody else. It might be senior staff or management. It is somebody ensuring that the responsibilities are carried out. I remember when I was in middle school, I was in shop class, and at the end of one period, we were all cleaning up. The shop instructor walked over to a particular area and said, "Hey, this is still dirty. Who's responsible for cleaning this up? And we were all there looking at each other. And lo and behold, guess what? I was the guy who was responsible for cleaning it up, and I didn't even know. Apparently, there was a list somewhere that outlined who was assigned what, and I missed it. Shame on me. I vowed to never let that happen again. That's why I think it's so crucial that people do understand what they are responsible for. They'll never really perform their jobs effectively if they don't. That was an instance where his oversight covered my oversight. His accountability, making sure that everybody's areas were cleaned up, identified the fact that I did not fulfill my responsibility to clean up the area assigned to me. It is difficult because in small organizations, we're all wearing a lot of hats. Everybody's doing several different things. But if you can get a good structure in place, you can really help people to understand the role that they're playing, and they'll do their job so much more effectively. Then you can really have collaboration in your organization, and you can really start to grow and develop and do big things. So today I'd like to just discuss 5 basic things to keep in mind as you define the roles in your organization. Because every one of those roles, someone will be responsible for and someone will be accountable for. So keep these concepts in mind as you figure out how that really fits in the fabric of what you do. Number 1, don't overload staff with too many separate functions. Again, when we're small businesses, small nonprofits, we all have to do different things. We very rarely have just one assigned job, but you can't put too many things on one person. You need to make sure that there is a proper division of work. And again, with that whole accountability idea, that somebody is providing oversight to make sure that all the things that need to get taken care of really are. If you put 11 things on one person and 3 things on somebody else, that might not really be realistic. If you're the person responsible for allocating job duties, really look to make sure there's a healthy balance. Look at whatever you've assigned to someone and ask yourself, is it realistic that this person can actually get this done in a normal workday? Number 2, have clear written procedures indicating responsibility and accountability. If you watch the Valor Excel channel regularly, you know I'm big on written procedures and especially my personal favorite, flowcharts. I love to have that visual representation of how a process plays out. And flowcharts are a great place to insert responsibility and accountability identifiers. That way, when you look at a process, you know who is responsible for each step and who is accountable for making sure that the overall process takes place. You want to avoid what I went through in shop class. Have things spelled out very clearly. Make sure that people understand how to interpret what's being presented so that everybody is doing what they should, when they should, and the entire job is getting done, not just small sections of it. Number 3, conduct regular trainings and refreshers. You can't hand somebody a job description when they start and expect that things will stay that way. The job will grow because the business will grow. People will take on new responsibilities. They will have new duties, and you need to make sure that they know how to do their jobs. So conduct regular trainings. If anything changes procedurally, ensure that people are fully instructed on what they need to do and that they're given proper documentation to follow up with it. And even if people are doing their jobs well and things are staying relatively the same, it never hurts to do periodic refreshers where you can bring the entire group together. Maybe a department is comprised of 8 different people all doing the same job function. If you have regular opportunity for them to share ideas and talk about their daily experiences, you can identify if there are holes in the process or if something can be tweaked for greater efficiency. Number 4, be purposeful about cross-training staff. Training somebody to do a job function is part of the battle, but to really be an effective organization, people need to know what other people are doing, and team members need to be able to cover for each other if somebody is out of the office. Cross-training is crucial to not only keep everything operating if someone's not there, but again, to avoid that silo mentality. When you cross-train, people then understand what others are doing, and it gives them a better perspective about how they need to perform their own job functions. That will really help in the overall definition of roles, because instead of simply seeing something on a flow chart, now somebody may have to experience what someone else does all day, every day. Cross-training really opens people up to other possibilities within the organization, and it's a great way to identify latent abilities or skills in someone. Somebody may be really adept at something that they simply don't get to do because it's not part of their regular job function. By opening themselves up to cross-training and learning how to do other things, you may actually discover great skills that have widespread application throughout the organization, and you would have never known that if they were just doing their regular job day in and day out. And number 5, consider other positions that may be a better fit. You may hire somebody to do a specific function in the organization, but they might appear to be struggling. Maybe they're highly intelligent, motivated, and creative, but it's just not a good fit for them. In a situation like that, be creative. Find somewhere else in the organization that you can connect them. And once they're plugged in, you may find that they really flourish and bring a lot to the organization that they never would have in that other position. Even if somebody is fulfilling a role well, watch too, because people can stay in a particular job function year after year after year and start to burn out or get bored or just lose focus. They're doing everything by routine, and there's no active intellectual connection with the work that they do. In a situation like that, maybe it's time to try to promote that person into something else or give them different responsibilities that move them out of the humdrum that they've grown so accustomed to. Defining roles in your organization is one of the most powerful steps that you can take toward real success. If you do it well, people will arrive at work each day with a clear expectation of what their responsibilities are. It eliminates all of the ambiguity. People won't be like I was in my shop class. They'll actually understand what's expected, and they'll be able to connect and give the organization their best on a daily basis. That helps everybody on the individual level, and it really helps the organization to have a firm footing for stability in the present and growth in the future. I hope what we discussed today was beneficial for you. If it was, would you please give this episode a like? And in the comments below, would you let me know, what are your experiences? In your organization, do you ever struggle trying to determine who is supposed to do what? It can be hard to know what we're doing in our organizations. We can't see the trees for the forest. We're wrapped up in all the day-to-day stuff, and we lose sight of the bigger picture. Well, I'd like to offer a free tool to you that can really help you to get a good glimpse of that bigger picture. If you click on the link in the description below this video, you can download a PDF called Taking Your Organization's Temperature. It'll give you a real insight into the overall philosophy and approach that you take in your organization, whatever it is that you're doing. I'd also like to invite you to subscribe to the Valor XL channel. We have new content on a regular basis, and all of it is specifically geared toward assisting small businesses and nonprofits. Thanks again for joining me today. Please come back for the next installment of Valor XL. And remember, we're committed to helping you do smart work. I'll see you again next time. Goodbye for now.